Okay, so when we've got negative powers, we can find out the value of them by appreciating that a negative power can be written as 1 over, okay, so the reciprocal of it, so this would be 1 over 8 squared. So the negative power disappears then, because 8 squared then is just 8 times 8, which is 64, okay? So we've then actually worked out what the value is of this, right? So the value of 8 to the power minus 2 is just 1 over 64. In regards to this here then, I do the same thing. Okay, so the reciprocal would be 1 over 4 cubed, and 4 cubed, of course, would be 4 times 4 times 4. And actually, 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. So they're actually the same in this case. Okay, now that's negative powers, but you could also have fractional powers. Okay, now remember with fractional powers, power half just means square root. Okay, so this is the square root of 16, which of course is 4. Okay, so don't forget that. Now, when it's 16 to the power 3 over 2 then, right, we need to go back to this idea, this understanding, because we got power half here, which have said power half is square root, okay? But here you've got 3 halves as a power. So what we do is we rewrite this as 16 to the power half, okay, because we're talking about halves, but there's 3 halves. So what we do is we write that 3 outside, okay, that bracket. All right, we're allowed to do that, because when we've got a power raised to a power, we times them, and we get 3 over 2. But you can split it up. 16 to the power half then is root 16, yeah? Okay, that's what it is, as we saw up there. But don't forget, you've got to cube it. So then when you root 16, you get 4. But then, of course, it says for us to cube it to relate to that power 3 over 2. And when you cube it, then you get 64. Now, we've looked at powers of half. When you get powers there of a third, okay, that there is the cube root, okay? So fractional powers are all to do with roots, okay? You know, 1/2 is a fraction and it's square root, 1/3 is a fraction and it's a cube root. Cube root of 27, that's what that is. And you work out the cube root of 27, you get 3. Now when you get 27 to the power 2/3, okay, just like before, we do 27 to the power 1/3 and take out the square. So take up the 2, and then you know then that 27 to the third is just cube root of 27, and then squared. Now, cube root of 27, of course, is 3, and then we've got to square it, so we get 9. Okay, and then we're done. The other thing then, you could get questions where you've got 1 power raised to another, and remember in indices, when you've got 1 power raised to another, we've got to times those powers. So important to remember that, right? We're not adding the powers. You've got 1 power raised to another, you times them. So you times there you have 1/3 times 6. That will equal 6 over 3, which is equal to 7 squared, and because the power there will be 2, 6 over 3 is 2, and that will be 49. In this case here, you times the powers, you get 4 and half times 4, which is 4 over 2, so that'll be 5 squared, which is 25.